Good morning and welcome to the 9:30 call on this Monday morning. I am coming to you live from Albany, New York, which is where I ended up after being in Cooperstown for the weekend. Not for the baseball, but for the opera. Although having been at Fenway on Friday night, I did trash talk to every Yankee fan that I saw because, as you may have heard, Clarence Little, the Red Sox have won 13 in a row. And all I said to the Yankee fans was like, with love from Boston, watch your back, which was met with a variety of responses. So we are so excited today to continue our Get to Know the Strategies for Children team. We have added two new folks, Natalie and Molly, which you're going to hear from. And last week, we did not have our 9:30 call on Thursday because our team was involved in a strategic plan session. So Wednesday it was full staff and full board. So we had 10 of our 11 board members there, which was incredible. And then the team on Thursday had a chance to be together. So we are so excited. This is a strategic plan refresh, our strategic plan goes to 2028. And it was just a great opportunity. And we have used Rhonda Alexander as our facilitator. And we highly recommend her for meetings, for strategic planning. She is an incredible facilitator and has amazing processes, which when you start at the beginning of the day, you are wondering if you'll ever get to the end. And at the end of the day, you have accomplished all that she said that you would. So I am gonna kick off the call and then I'm gonna turn things over to as someone would say, Jay Leno of the Johnny Carson, our co-host with the mostest, Titus Optimidius. But I'll ask the first question for Natalie and Molly for you to each tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be in this current role. And Molly, why don't we start with you?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Molly Heald, and I am the Early Childhood Partnership Coordinator at Strategies for Children. That gives a little whoop whoop. Uh, how I got to Strategies for Children. So I'm from California, and I did my undergraduate degree in developmental psychology, and that was when I really got into the weeds about how the really early stages of childhood are the most important and formative of our lives. Where it's a lot about like attachment development, language development, reading, literacy, of course, all the major important things that like involve our development throughout our lives. And so I had chosen to take that degree and start like becoming a teacher. I was a teaching assistant for 2 years and really got to see on the ground what it's like to work with students and seeing not only like the child in the classroom, but getting to also navigate and help the students like navigate the systems outside of the classroom as well. So like housing, food insecurity, parent and family systems, and community systems. And so I really loved that the school that I worked at had really taken the whole child into consideration and helped the student navigate like everything else that's going on in their lives so that they could do their best and feel their best as a family unit as well. And so I decided to pursue a macro social work degree at Boston University. And I am currently in a dual degree program where it's macro social work and educational policy and leadership for the hopes that this information and understanding that I have about childhood development and about all these macro systems that come into play when regarding a child's development, and hoping to do policy and advocacy change. So that was a really natural pipeline for strategies for children that does policy and advocacy around early childhood development years. And I was lucky to meet Amy at a networking event at Ayanna Presley's birthday party. And then I was able to see all the good work the Strategies for Children has been doing. And when I saw this position posted online, I knew it was perfect. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm excited to meet everyone. I've been at Strategies for about 2 weeks now, which is very exciting. And I'm so excited to continue doing this awesome work with everybody.
Thanks so much, Molly. We are excited to have you on the team, especially as you can all hear that introduction from Molly, her background, the social work, the whole child approach is exactly what we want and need for our team and specifically for the early childhood agenda work, which we can talk more about. But let's shift now to Natalie Van Aren, our new Director of Advancement. Natalie, would you like to share your introduction? You're muted, Natalie.
That was embarrassing. I apologize.
All good. It happens to, I would
Um,
say, 50% of all of our guests. So that's hundreds and hundreds of people. You're in good company.
That's very on brand for the 9:30 call.
Oh,
Yes.
thank God. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for your patience. I'm Natalie Van Aaron, and I am a former attorney. I went to the University of Miami School of Law and practiced children's advocacy and civil rights work. Um, Really loved the subject matter, focused, did fellowships and lots of interesting things at the University of Miami Children and Youth Law Clinic. Obviously found that working on behalf of children's advocacy is really what I wanted to do with my life. But definitely was frustrated with a lot of the institutional issues and racism that I found within the juvenile justice system, and moreover in the dependency courts. So decided to transfer to the nonprofit world, still with the same focus of wanting to improve the lives of children. And I started off running mentoring and scholarship programs in Bridgeport, Connecticut and Miami-Dade County, and then transitioned to fundraising. I have been the senior vice president of fundraising for Best Buddies International, leading their national focus. So I used to manage about 6 different markets around the country, with staff and different fundraising goals and focuses. So I pretty much run the gamut. If you could see everything from grassroots basic fundraising, peer to peer to online fundraising. I was just certified in AI for nonprofits. So want to give get my opportunity hopefully to work on that here. And then I also have done a lot of sort of major events, like major multi-million-dollar galas, bike rides, built major gift programs for organizations. And the last probably 3 to 5 years, I've really focused more on kind of coming in when an organization is going through transition and providing that stability and growing their fundraising infrastructure from the ground up when there hasn't been. So thankfully, we're at Strategies for Children. It's an amazing organization. I just came off the strategic planning kind of 2-day retreat that we had. It was awesome, and I'm happy to be here, and happy to contribute to what is already an amazing organization. It should make my job as director of advancement pretty easy because we already have a product that's so exciting and has been proven to truly effectuate change. And it's just a well-run organization. I can now say I've met the entire staff; they're amazing, and hopefully together as a team we can build some more fundraising infrastructure. Even though they've been extremely successful so far with grants and foundations. Hopefully, we can expand that and kind of spread the word about our organization and expand into different facets of fundraising to diversify our revenue pool. So, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Natalie. Yes, all of those things and more. We definitely, Strategies for Children has been writing grants, fundraising, um, mostly just with our current staff, right? We haven't had a dedicated development professional on our team, so we are thrilled to have Natalie on our team. And you mentioned the strategic planning. So I'll ask you and Molly to share a bit more about that, but I just wanted to zoom out and review for everyone on the 9:30 call. Strategies for Children has been around for 25 years. This is our 25th anniversary. Every 5 years or so, we do a strategic planning process with our staff, our board, because times change and strategies change. The needs of the early childhood community shift, and we want to make sure we are organized and focused and effective, right? Impactful. And so for the last 2 strategic plans, I think we've built into our goals, the development and the capacity building from that frame of, fundraising, development, having the infrastructure, like you said, Natalie. So we are excited for that. And yeah, when you were in the strategic planning, I'll ask you and Molly to just share, you know, whatever you'd like about the strategic planning process, your observations and reflections from that last week, because you were brand new to the team, and you're kind of put in this situation to work with the rest of the team and the board. So what was that like for you, and what were some observations and reflections? Natalie can go first, then Molly.
Sure. So we were really lucky to have this during like our first few weeks of being part of the team. So I will say that Titus did a really one of the most robust onboarding that I've seen, especially for a small organization. I've usually just been welcomed. You know, people are so busy in nonprofits and said, "Go ahead, start your job." But Titus did an amazing job of really organizing the onboarding process and teaching us like the history, of the organization and helping that we had like a really well-rounded first few weeks, but then having this opportunity to meet the whole team and the board of directors was pretty cool. And right at the beginning, I would say my first takeaways were that I've never seen a nonprofit that really talks about and focuses so much on the perspective of the people that we serve. So it was really interesting to see that the perspective of the of caregivers and early childhood educators and parents, etc., is such a main focus point. So it's never coming from us and what we think. It's really everything is created with the perspective of the people that we serve in mind. And I thought that was a really cool and something you don't honestly see. So in 20 years of nonprofit work. So thought that was great. I also really liked the diversity of the staff. Everyone kind of came from different perspectives, and kind of has different backgrounds that they have built. Everyone's very impressive in their own right. So we've got an attorney in the room. We've got people who are early childhood educators in the room. We've kind of run policy, people who work on policy in the room. So I like that a lot of some of them, two of our colleagues are actually in doctoral programs right now, which I thought was really cool. So you've got a really well-educated, well-focused group of people who are mission oriented. And I thought the board was surprisingly engaged, not just in a where they feel like they're managing, not at all. They obviously have an incredible amount of trust in Amy, which she's earned, but they also really were looking at it as like partners for us, and were kept asking what they could do to help. So for me, I felt like really well supported by the end and very much part of the team, and really excited because I came back with like my brain is like running through a million different ideas, and I was really inspired to help build out the development and advancement function alongside with the team. So those are my perspectives.
Thanks, Natalie. Molly, what are some reflections that you have from the strategic planning?
Sure. I'm gonna echo a lot of what Natalie had said about making sure to prioritize the people who are impacted and involved. And I think this centering of people's lived experiences is really beautiful and makes my little social worker heart very happy. And being intentional about including parents and educators in the 930 calls, in the advocacy headquarters, and all the movements that we have going on. I think I also it was made very clear to me that everybody is on board with the mission of SFC. And I think that is something truly powerful, and that's how stuff gets done. And I think having this united team of staff and board members all like rallying around SFC's mission, like, and being able to come collectively together to like do the projects that we're doing, come up with new ideas, continuing charging forward, and being able to build off of this legacy that y'all have built over the last 25 years. I think that was very cool to walk into as someone who is new. I kept making the joke last week of like, I've been here a week and a half and I'm all for it. And I think that I've been comparing it a lot as we've been onboarded of like Natalie and I are hopping onto like a moving train, but the train is strong and it's in a strong direction and knows exactly where it's going. And
Mhm.
everyone is also so excited to hop on board that train. And that's very infectious. And I think it's really cool to see how an organization can not only have connections and roots in the community and in the educators, with parents, with teachers, with families, with community organizations, and also with legislators, advocacy, CFOs, CEOs, like also have that sort of connection. And I think that's how stuff gets done. So I'm very inspired. I'm excited to keep doing this work. Um, and also see how this team continues to lock their eyes on their mission and continue to align everything that they do with that value.
Thanks, Molly. That's great. I like the train metaphor. I'm gonna write that
Me too.
down. Um, Molly, what is something you're looking forward to at SFC? I know you just started, you're learning the history. You've gone through the strategic planning, and you know a little bit about what we've got planned for the coming months, but what specifically are some things you're looking forward to?
I'm excited to get deeper into the early childhood agenda. Um, in my role, I help support the early childhood agenda, which is a statewide convening of cross-sector organizations committed to improving the systems and policies and outcomes for young children and families. And in my role, I am the one who's coordinating and supporting partnerships across organizations and partner coalitions. And I love doing that. I love doing that outside of work. I love doing that with like, it's really fun that I get to do this, like, as a part of this good work and good mission. And I think it's really great to, when you're thinking about the whole child approach, you're looking at all the different systems that do impact a family and getting to build connections and reach out to all the different organizations across all different sectors that all impact children, I think is going to be a really beautiful and powerful thing. So I'm excited to get more into that work.
Great, thanks. And we've started talking. It's a little it's tricky to understand the subtle distinctions between early education and care
Mhm.
and the whole, the broader early childhood system of programs, coalitions, policies. Um, Strategies has always had a very strong sense of like the early education and care community, but we really did launch the early childhood agenda in 2022 to go broader, like stay rooted there, but go broader and beyond into areas like, f financial success for families, healthy beginnings. I can put a link in the chat, but many of you have been along for that ride too on that train, that early childhood agenda train. So we're thrilled to have Molly. Now we'll have more capacity to build those partnerships, sustain them with other coalitions, communicate like what's going on across different coalitions, and hopefully amplify everybody's work to have a greater impact on young children and families in our state. So thanks, Molly. And Natalie, how about something you're looking forward to or something you want to learn? I should have combined that question for Molly too, but what about you, Natalie?
Yeah, for me, there's certain things that are kind of that actually those two questions kind of come together.
Mm,
For me, I really am excited to meet the funders. So again, Titus and Amy have already really jumped in to introduce me to people, set up meetings. So there is a really, this is a situation where they're not hiring a director of advancement because the organization has challenges in the fundraising field. It's actually quite the opposite. So they have a lot of really loyal funders who have truly bought into the mission. And, quite frankly, they've done such an amazing job that people come to us wanting to fund the organization. So that's a really cool position to be in. I think what's really important is to meet the funders, to thank them, introduce myself, but also ask questions. So that's something that I'd like to know really from their perspective, why they continue to fund this work and what resonates with them about the organization, because that will help us kind of craft our pitch as we reach out into different segments of the donor community. So I'm really excited to learn to learn more and excited for that. And I'm really excited about the 25th anniversary. That's a fundraiser's dream, is to have a milestone like that to celebrate. Thankfully, we have some really great accomplishments that hopefully we can highlight. One thing about strategies for children that I would say might be a little bit of a critique is that they tend to be very modest. So I would say that hopefully being here, my job might be to help amplify the impact and brag a little bit about the organization's accomplishments. And an anniversary is a really great chance to do that. So hopefully it's a chance to bring together our existing funders and some new potential funders and get people in the room together to really feel the energy and and listen to all of our vision, but also Amy's leadership about what we see the next 25 years looking like. So those are my big.
Thanks, Natalie. And we have a few funders on our call today. So thank you, funders, for joining us. I'm going to put our list to our strategies for children funders in the chat in case anyone ever was curious about who our funders are. You can check out the full list. Very good. 1 second. This maybe. Okay. Make sure I didn't have a typo there. Last question for both of you. Do you have any questions for the 930 call community? This is an interactive, appreciative, supportive, mutually reinforcing community that I have been very fortunate to be a part of from the last 6 years. And people come in and log in when they can. Over time, that might ebb and flow, but we always have new 930 callers and guest speakers. It's just a great space. So, do you have any questions for the community?
Sure. If it's okay, Molly, I'll jump in first. This is really interesting to me. I When I first heard about the 9:30 call, I hadn't realized that it was a daily phone call Monday through Thursday. So I'm amazed that the staff, such a small staff, is able to pull off this type of event, I would say, every single day of the week, and feature some incredible guests along the way. So that says a lot about the work ethic and the passion of our team. From the guest perspective, I would say, it's difficult enough to get people to attend a meeting at work, right? And this 9:30 call has been really garnering an amazing response and a pretty loyal audience every single day of the week. So which is just again just incredible to me. So that being said, why do you take your precious time every day, or maybe it's once a week or once a month, to join this call? And what kind of questions might you have for me in a future call about funding or our plans, or some, maybe we could brainstorm together some ideas that you might have as supporters of the organization, to help move us into the next iteration of our fundraising. So what I think most of all, it's what inspires you to participate in these meetings every day, and what kind of benefit do they provide?
That's right on point. Yes. We did a 930 call case study in our
Mm.
4th year anniversary, but the story of the 930 call continues to be central to like who we are as strategies for children, and we think impactful to our community, like you said, who keep showing up. Um, so I think there's many more opportunities to keep telling the story of the 930 call, the 930 callers, the community, the impact, and just getting that out there. We've been approached by other states um, who have already begun, in some cases, replicating the 930 call or modifying it, adapting it to their local context. It's a really good thing for the early childhood field, uh, we think. So thanks, Natalie. Molly, what about you? Do you have any questions or comments for the 930 call community?
Sure. Since I just graduated from the social work part of my dual degree program, I am learning about the landscape of organizations and powers and forces out there in this field and beyond. And so I guess I would love to hear folks' thoughts on how they view cross-sector collaboration and what are better ways that we could make that happen.
All right. I think you'll hear plenty. You don't have to all put it in the chat in the last minute, but yes, that is an open question, and we invite you all to think about how we can continue to um, structure and lead and convene that cross-sector collaboration, right? Because we want to organize ourselves effectively in a way that makes sense for you as participants and co-creators. So Harold and Paula in the chat say, to put it very simply, this call is the place to be to learn what's happening in the early childhood field in Mass and the nation. Yes, thank you, Harold. Molly, you should definitely check out the book Impact Networks by David Ehrlichman. Maybe that is on your syllabus, Molly, but Kate Warren Barnes has recommended that. Thank you, Kate. Do you know that book, Molly? We'll look that up. Thanks, Kate. And Edna Cabral, who is an alumni of our advocacy network and the co-host of the 9:30 Call in Portuguese, says she absolutely agrees with Donna. It has positively influenced personal, professional life and has had a ripple effect in her own Portuguese community of family child cares. Donna's original comment was, true progress is made in community. SFC has created a powerful, supportive community where each voice is valued. We belong. Thanks, Donna, and everyone who added to the chat. And please join me in thanking Molly and Natalie and welcoming them to not just the 9:30 call, but to the team at Strategies for Children. All right. Thanks to you both for sharing your story. And thank you, callers. We'll be back tomorrow with Danielle Ewan, I believe, who will give us a federal update. Have a good morning. Thanks.